for the opportunity for Raise Green to invite us to this the presentation here, and Matthew Brown and I will both be speaking briefly on our opportunity. But most importantly, it's really about having this collaborative partnership that we have formed with Raise Green, where we're both mission driven and as well as pragmatic in terms of our whole approach of everything that we're doing. I think it's an exciting thing. We are very focused on compliance, as Raise Green is, and Franz and Matt and their entire team have been wonderful to work with us as we all move into this expansion of opportunities for smaller investors to invest into into climate related investments and other things. I mean, this all came down to, like, my daughter and her friend said, "Daddy, how can we invest in your company?" And I said, well, let's talk to Raise Green. So this has been a great format for that. We like to view ourselves as being kind of this confluence between altruism and pragmatism about, yes, we all want to do the right thing from a climate perspective, but we also want to support the economy. We also want to drive things. And how do we do it? So in a very, very 7-minute quick overview, the National Energy Improvement Fund really comes from a genesis of my family's business from 50 years ago, that we moved into energy efficiency lending about 20 years ago, and Matthew's business for 20 years of providing the consulting and program development for utilities in states around the country, all about making energy efficiency and renewable improvements affordable for consumers and small businesses. So we invented climate action investment notes to kind of make that accessible to more people. The National Energy Improvement Fund is all about that. It's all about going back to our history of doing over $800 million of projects in this area in what we call the essential improvements, the heating, cooling, roofing, windows, battery storage, and certainly we do renewables, but our focus is really on, like, my heat pump just blew out. What do I do? How do I afford that? And the only options I've been given to do that are 0% for 12 months and 35% thereafter. That's not a tenable way to grow energy efficiency or resilience or anything else. So we have focused our development upon all those things. We've done a lot of work in this area, specifically with contractors, because they're the point of influence in all these things. Nobody, frankly, wants to improve their installation. I mean, it's a very small part of the world, right? So it's the contractor coming to their house. How do we influence the contractor to make that affordable for the consumer, as well as distributors, manufacturers, utilities, and governments? We're lending in 23 states as a consumer lender, and nationally on the commercial and light commercial and small business and national commercial perspective, which Matthew will talk about. We have moved into resilience lending with our acquisition of the My Strong Home platform that allows us to do hurricane resistant kind of roofing financing. And our greatest, I think one of our greatest attributes is that we are a certified B Corporation, which really is a testimony to the foundational principles of our business. And we were named a partner of the DOE Home Improvement Expert Partner. And we are focused on this mission completely. You have generic finance and you have specialty finance, and we are specialty finance. Focused to affordability, climate impact, and job development. We service the entire market, but it's all about the middle market, which is both low, moderate income and middle market consumers, to try to make this core efficiency stuff, heating, cooling, insulation, roofing, affordable. About half of our loans, or 43% of our loans, are all to that low to moderate income market. Every project we do influences energy efficiency and savings. We prioritize resilience, as well as the hurricane resistant roofing. And we've done about 6,000 projects to date since we were founded in 2000. And well, Matt was talking about this, like they founded Raise Green about 3 years ago. We come from a legacy of 30 years of doing this, but we founded NEIF really about 3 years ago. We've done about 6,000 projects so far, and we have about 1,000 approved contractors nationally. So Matthew, if you'd like to talk more about our focus, that'd be great.
Sure. So it's interesting as we talk to different people about who NEIF is. And even yesterday, I was talking to a community development lender who we were exploring a relationship with. And they said, "Well, how do you measure what you do. When you look at the metrics for measuring your success, what are those metrics? And as Peter mentioned, we're kind of a mix of what he was saying is kind of the pragmatic, along with the a much more mission-based type of goals. So yes, we are very focused on profitability. We are very focused on making money, as would a for-profit company. But we are, as Peter mentioned, a certified benefit corporation. Therefore, we are very much a mission-based for-profit company. So we do have a very heavy focus on environment, a very heavy focus on climate. That is why I get up in the morning to come and do what I do. I think that's really, if you were to ask most members of our team, that is why they get up in the morning, is really addressing the climate crisis. We are very focused on energy efficiency, very focused on resiliency, very focused on serving a market of people who are not necessarily always able to access financing. So as Peter mentioned, we have just slightly less than 1/2 of the loans that we have made have been to low and moderate income households. We're very proud of that. That's kind of fits in with our broader mission as a benefit corporation. And so that's a very important element. We are also very focused on serving small businesses. So while we are, we do work with large utilities, for example, quite a lot. But fundamentally, the people who are in the companies that are delivering energy efficiency into a home, fundamentally the companies that are delivering energy efficiency into a business, tend to be small to medium-sized businesses. Those are our partners. That is our target. Those are the people whose businesses we really help to grow. So that's a big important part of what we do. And so you can see in this slide some of the metrics that we've developed. I'm going to move quickly because, Matt, I know that we need to get to our work probably right at our 7 minutes. But I think the key thing is we are very focused on energy, very focused on environment, very focused on serving businesses, small businesses, in the context of, guess what, as a for-profit company, making money as well, making money by doing good. Let's move to the next slide, next and final slide. This is the essentials of what the investment opportunity is. We do have a minimum of $1,000 a share. It's a 5% annual amount paid quarterly over a 5-year period. Final redemption is at maturity, of course, through the Raise Green platform. So, Matt, I think we're probably right at, or perhaps even slightly over the 7 minutes. So I'm going to stop and move to the next phase here.
Great. Thank you, Peter and Matthew. We have one question in the Q&A. This is from Bunny Silverstein. Why should I choose to invest in NEIF versus a socially responsible or impact ETF or mutual fund?
Well, I think it's, you can call Matthew and myself and talk about what we're doing. I think it's essentially the same thing. Do you want to invest directly? I believe investing in mutual funds and all those things are a great idea, but do you want to have direct impact in the projects you're investing in and understand what you're doing? That's why you invest in NEIF. Now, so that may be the most significant part of this thing. You can see direct impact of the investments that you're making right along, like, we'll share with you what we've done. So that might be the biggest distinction, Matthew. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think but they're both good. For not surprisingly, both Peter and I have invested in NEIF, but we have also invested in various, socially responsible funds. So it's not. I would hope that it's not a choice necessarily of one or the other, and that we should be competing. But it really is, from our perspective, it's a much more direct impact kind of investment. And so we're able to say, okay, we have done as a company, you have supported the ability to get us over. We just hit 6,000 residential loans. We're going to hit 7,000. We're going to hit 8,000, right? So that you're going to see that. It's a very direct kind of impact that I think you can see.
Awesome. Thank you. Here's a question that was on the marketplace. Where is my return on investment from this actually coming from?
Yeah, well, it comes from, so we make revenue in two ways, right? Our primary revenue is recurring revenue from a loan servicing spread that we own and manage. So if we're making a loan to a consumer, we have capital partners that provide the underlying capital, and we retain the program management and servicing spread that provides recurring revenue year over year as long as we have that loan. And that's the cash flow that comes in the business. Primary cash flow. Secondary cash flow is we also operate as a facilitator for other larger commercial projects that we earn brokerage fees from. We have retainers, Matthew, with how many 15 utilities now that we run their residential or in commercial lending programs that we get paid monthly. We also operate a program called Rebate Bridge that provides contractors with advanced funding for delayed rebates that a state or utility might provide. So your return is coming from the cash flow from all those streams of revenue coming in.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Peter. Two questions, and then we'll move on to the next panelist. Can I hear more about the types of loans you offer? Are they personal loans? What are the rates and terms to these contractors?
So I'll talk about the residential side, then Matthew will talk about the commercial side. So residentially, so if you think about the world right now, again, I used my example before, I want to replace my $10,000 heat pump, right? So the contractor comes in and says, yes, we have financing through, blah, 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 finance company, and it's 0% for 12 months and blah, blah, blah. That's not our market. Our market is almost like auto finance. If you want to have a 799 10-year fixed rate loan that you can pay off whenever you want to, unsecured, like an auto loan, again, this is market-based, we can provide that. When we operate programs with states, like in Maine, we operate the Efficiency Maine program, which is 4.99 10-year financing. We will operate other programs that could be subsidized by utilities that could be 0%, but it's all about the subsidy. What I can't stand on the residential side is the duplicity of the 0% financing right now. We all know there's a cost to that that's being packed into the consumer pricing. And we fight against that for the residential side. We say, listen, let's be transparent and fair and not duplicitous. So it's all about low monthly payment, pay it off whenever you want to, versus promotional finance. Matthew, on the commercial side?
On the commercial side, it's very similar. The difference is the projects tend to be larger. So typical project on the commercial side is somewhere between, often for an energy efficiency retrofit, $50,000 to $150,000. We will originate those loans to support that type of project. We lend to commercial enterprises. We lend to nonprofit enterprises. We lend to government facilities. In each case, it's to support their energy efficiency retrofit, and in some cases also for solar energy. I will mention, just as kind of an aside here, this sometimes is a rather small world. In solar in particular, we will often work through and with partners. And guess what? One of the partners that we're working with is, at least on my screen, just to my left. So we are already engaged with Solaris in helping to fund solar energy, larger solar energy projects. So commercial is a much wider space, but with a real focus in energy efficiency, probably in that $50,000 to $150,000 size.
Great, thank you. And let's see, we have two more questions from one individual. Their second question is about loan default rate, which I believe is on your marketplace, but we can make sure that they follow up with the impact report as a follow-up to that, or I think you may be able to respond to them directly.
Yeah, well, just very quickly. I mean, so you know, NEIF and my previous company, AFC First, we kind of set the standards for all this stuff, and like all the securitizations have been based on the performance we've had for 20 years. It's amazing that the default rate on these loans on the residential side are always annually less than 1%, you know, annually, which compares to similar unsecured lending for other stuff, which is 3% annually. And I think a lot of it has to go with the nature of the improvement, that they're saving money on their cash flow, the nature of the contractor improvement. So I think consistently, I'm going back through 2006 and all the way through, it's been less than 1% annual charge-offs. And I think commercial is very close or less than that.
Okay. And just one last piece, just a bit behind, but I think it's an interesting question is, do you have like a environmental hurdle for your investments like you would for a financial hurdle? Is this something you're starting to think about as an organization?
I'll kind of start off on that. It's interesting. So we do not have, say, a particular energy savings, and this is how we probably measure it, energy savings metric built into our underwriting criteria. But that said, we know that because we are financing energy efficient equipment broadly, we know that we are having that that impact. But even more to the point, we do a lot of our work through and with utilities around the United States. And those utilities are essentially, we are their financing partner. So for example, we are just about to launch a program with Sacramento Municipal Utility District. We just launched a program with Duke Energy. We've had programs with Xcel Energy. They will, we work with them, they identify projects that save energy, and that they are providing energy efficiency rebates for. So we will, in those cases, and that is the vast majority of what we do, certainly on the commercial side, every project that we do has been pre-qualified in a sense because of that association with a utility. So it's not a specific metric that goes into the individual project underwriting, but it is a huge part of what we do and how we kind of source our projects.
Excellent answer. And that's maybe something we can all work on together.